I remember I went back into the bathroom and I ended up walking towards the stall that had the list of thick girls in my school. When I looked at the list, I realized that my girlfriend ended up becoming third place on the list, and that's when I realized that this whole thing was maybe a bad idea. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. Now, this story all takes place back when I was in high school, and this was my grade 11 year. Now, in grade 11, I'm not gonna lie to you, the only things I cared about was doing the Devil's Tango and basically being the player that I was. To be honest, I never really cared about school or anything else because, I'm gonna be honest, I never knew what I wanted to be in the future. But I remember there was one day when me and the boys were all hanging out, and out of nowhere, one of the boys ends up walking up to me. He walks up to me and says, "Yo, Bubba, bro, did you hear about the list?" What do you mean the list? What's the list? Oh, bro, basically, like, someone in the school bathroom apparently started writing down a list of girls that are the thickest in the school, bro. Wait, what do you mean the thickest in the school? Well, you know, if, like, their peach be like that, you know what I'm saying? No, okay, I get what you're saying, but there's a list? At that moment, me and all the boys, we ended up going into the school bathroom, and we ended up going into the handicap stall, which is, like, the biggest stall in every bathroom, I guess. And we ended up looking towards the wall of it, and we saw that there was a long list, and on the top, it just said thick with 2 C's. I remember I looked at my friend, and we basically started reading down the list of all the girls on there, and there was only 10 girls right then and there. Now, these 10 girls, I actually did recognize some of them, and some of them I did already do the Devil's Tango. But since they're ranked, I remember I looked at the top of the list, and I saw that the top girl in our school that was apparently the thickest was, well, someone that I actually never spoke to. Now, I thought this was a surprise, and I was like, bro, there's no way she's actually the thickest, bro. I haven't even met this girl. I don't know, Bubba. Apparently she is, bro. And when my friend said that, I decided to make it my life's mission to basically find out who this girl was and basically do the Devil's Tango with this girl. I know it sounds really bad, but you gotta understand I was a massive player and that's all I cared about, right? So in a way, I really did not care whatsoever. I remember later on after school that day, I ended up walking down the hallway, just walking around trying to figure out who this girl was until I finally decided to walk up to a girl that I already knew and asked her who this chick was. I remember when I asked her, the girl ends up telling me, you know, you're not the first person who asked me about this girl today. Why is everyone asking about her? What's so good about her? Oh, nothing. It's just, you know, something came up and I just want to know, you know, she's in my biology class. Actually, I think she's walking down the hallway that way. I remember that moment, I ended up walking down the hallway that she pointed me to and I ended up seeing the girl. And at that moment, I realized that that list was right. Whoever wrote down that list was a genius because I remember I walked up to this girl and when I looked at her and checked her out, I realized she was actually thick AF. But when I walked up to her, I remember I walked up to her and said, "Hey, like, how's it going?" "Oh, I'm good, Bubba. What are you doing here?" "Oh, wait, you know who I am?" "Well, yeah, we've been going to the same school for like the last like 3 years." "Oh, well, like, I don't know. I never like noticed you, I guess, or something. I'm not sure. Sorry, that sounds really weird because like I would notice you if I actually did see you." Thanks. What do you want?" "Oh, like, I was just wondering, like, if you want to, like, hang out sometime." At this moment, her eyes opened wide, and she looks at me, and she's like, "Wait, really? You want to, like, go out with me?" "Well, yeah, why not?" "Well, I don't know. 2 years ago, like, you weren't interested in me at all." "Oh, well, that was just 2 years ago. I was probably, like, busy doing something." In reality, I was probably busy actually, like, you know, doing the Devil's Tango with so many other chicks that, to be honest, I never noticed this one, was my first thought. But when she said yes, I remember I ended up walking away, and a bunch of, like, the guys that I was originally friends with back when I was in high school, the boys, as I would call them, ended up running up to me and basically cheering me on. It was super embarrassing because she was still in the same hallway when they were doing that, but I remember I ended up moving all the boys outside and we all ended up started talking. We started talking and everything, and then one thing led to another girl that was apparently a friend of the thickest girl in our school at the time walked up to us. She walked up to us and said, "Bubba, you do know who that is, right? Like, you didn't just go up to her and ask her out, right?" Yeah, I do know who she is. She's my next date." "No, Bubba, that's not what I'm saying. Like, you do realize who that girl is?" No, why?" "Bubba, you do realize she had a massive crush on you like 2 years ago, and you always turned her down because apparently she wasn't cute enough." "Wait, what? What do you mean?" "Well, all I'm gonna say is, Bubba, is that if you hurt this girl, I am not joking, I will make you regret it." I remember she ends up walking away, and honestly, all the guys were looking at me as if I did a massive mistake. But I ended up telling all of them, "Yo, like, just don't worry about it. She's just being over dramatic. I would remember if this girl asked me out." And we all ended up walking back to our homes. I remember that night, I ended up just texting this girl that I asked out basically throughout the night, and I'm not gonna lie, me and her, we got along pretty good. And it was kind of mind-blowing to me because if this girl really had a crush on me 2 years ago, how did I never actually end up dating her? But going on with the story, the next day, I remember I ended up basically walking up to this girl that was apparently the thickest girl in school, and me and her, we actually like planned out a proper date. We decided to go to a bubble tea place after school that day, and I remember after me and her made those plans, right as I was walking away, one of the boys ends up grabbing me. He grabs me and says, "Yo, Bubba, you need to come see this." "Wait, what? What do I need to see?" tea. And then afterwards, he ends up dragging me into the bathroom where the list of the girls were. And right when I walked up to the bathroom stall that the list was in, I realized that she was still in first place, which was a good thing. But the second place girl ended up changing. Literally everyone in the list changed spots other than the first girl on the list, which was the girl that I asked out. At that moment, he ended up telling me, yo, Bubba, you're still getting the #1 girl. Congrats, man. Yeah, no, it is pretty cool. At this moment, I started to realize that more and more guys ended up getting more obsessed with this list, because I remember later on that day, I ended up having the girl that I asked out walk up to me. And she walked up to me and said, yo, Bubba, I have a question. Yeah, what's going on? Well, did you tell anyone that, you asked me out? No, why? Well, like, do you know how many guys today just asked me out for no reason? Like, I don't even know half of them, and they just walk up to me and ask me out. At this moment, I realized that a lot of guys in our school started getting obsessed with the list as well. And I started to kind of worry about it, but honestly, I had a date to worry about at the moment, so I decided not to make it control my mind. I remember I just told her, I guess people are just starting to see, because, before we were all blind, apparently. And she liked that comment and started giggling. And I remember that day, me and her, we ended up going on a date. We had a good time and everything, and I'm not gonna lie to you, she was a fantastic girl. And obviously, one thing led to another during our date. We actually did end up going back to my place, and we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. I guess you could say the mission was successful, but I remember the next day is when I realized that this whole thing was the worst thing that ever happened. Because I remember the next day when I went to school, I ended up basically walking into the bathroom, and I just wanted to check on the list because the whole time I just had that in my mind. And when I walked up to the list and I looked at the wall that had the list on it, I realized that apparently the girl that I just went out with ended up going down 2 places. She ended up becoming in 3rd place instead of 1st. And the whole time I'm just thinking, bro, like, I went on a date with this girl, I bought her bubble tea, I got to do the Devil's Tango, and now she's in 3rd place? Like, how is that even possible? I got really annoyed and I got pretty pissed off. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. And then out of nowhere, one of my friends ends up walking in, and he ends up seeing the list and how basically there's a new 1st place girl, and he ended up taking a picture of it and sending it to almost every single guy at my school. At this moment, I'm not gonna lie, I got really worried about it, but obviously I didn't want to, cause anything or cause any drama. But I think what happens next ruined it all, because I remember I was walking up to my car on my phone and basically always getting an update on the new list because it kept changing almost like every class. And then I remember as I was walking to my car after school, I ended up basically opening my car door, and the girl that I went out with literally the day before runs up to me and says, hey Bubba, we haven't spoken in a while, like, what's going on? Are you okay? Oh yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at something. I remember she ends up peeking over to see what was on my phone, and she ended up seeing a list of the girls' names, and she looks at me and says, wait, why is my name in 3rd place? Wait, what is this list, Bubba? Oh, it's nothing, I swear. No, Bubba, what is that list? Give me your phone. She ends up grabbing my phone, and she realized that that list was on the bathroom stall, and she read the title of it, and she was furious. She got so mad, and she's like, wait a minute, are you kidding me? Is this the reason why you asked me out and all those other guys? Because we're on some dumb list? I'm taking this to the principal. And she ends up sprinting with my phone to the principal's office, and as I'm chasing behind her, she ends up running in there saying, OMG, principal, something's going on in the boys' bathroom. You need to deal with this now. I don't want my name on the bathroom wall like I'm some kind of garbage. At this moment, the principal was so confused on what was going on, and me and him, we ended up walking back to the bathroom together because he wanted me to show the list since I ended up walking into the principal's office with her. And when I showed him the list, I remember all the guys in our school got in serious trouble. Like, we were on pack watch. Like, it was so bad. And all the guys ended up blaming me for it, which really sucked. But all I'm gonna say is that honestly, that whole list was probably a bad idea in the first place. If you guys ever experienced something like this, then follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.